Well, at some point, those records are made to be broken. We always say that Hikaru Nakamura and Magnus Carlsen, they kind of only lose to each other here. But Jan Nepomniachtchi, if you told him he'd have a chance with 25 minutes of bullet chess, I think he'd take it. Here we go. He's got a decent position here in some sort of weird dragon. What do you think?
I think it looks good for black. White looks quite passive compared to other dragons. That knight went to b3, back to d2. Black's pieces all in healthy squares, and at some moment, black can try to break open this queen side. But white is, aiming towards the king side. There could be an e5 in the near future, opening up the f file.
E5 in the near future, opening up the F file. Sounds like a nightmare I had once. You can't do it yet because the queen's on B8. She's overprotecting that square. But maybe G5 opens up the F file. No, Hikaru wants more than that. He wants space.
Well, speaking of g5, black played it, and Hikaru might want space, but Jan wants those dark squares. If these bishops get
Yeah.
traded and that pony gets to e5, that looks like a nice blockade, but not so fast because at some point, white can even throw that pawn forward with f6 just to open up the file.
It's funny, computers didn't like how either player handled those pawn moves on that side of the board, but it doesn't matter now because bishop takes e4. Does that just allow knight takes and queen e3? I feel like that knight is running out of squares.
I think there's bishop g7, king g7, queen d4, and the queen is hanging, but
Oh,
so is the black queen.
oh, Jan sees that. He shakes his head. That's a frustrating blunder. He's going down a piece, and if he knows he's going down a piece, he might want to resign. Again, now we're in meta mode. You have to think about the total time on the clock, 23 minutes. Don't play a game where you're going to lose longer than you need to.
Yeah, I would just try to see how many pawns he gets because right now he only
Yeah.
has one. He had two a second ago. But if he could pick up one of these pawns, especially the b3 pawn, I would say he still has a chance because he controls those dark squares. So it's not hopeless for Jan Nepomniachtchi to survive this game.
Okay, that's fair. And it's early in the bullet. No reason to panic just yet. Hikaru has to show how he's going to use that extra piece before Jan would ever even need to panic. Unless we're at the disco. Panic at the Disco. Shout out, right? I mean, Into the Unknown, maybe the best cover ever of a Disney movie.
That song was awesome. I remember seeing it in theaters and going crazy, but this feels like I'm at the theaters. This chess is like cinema, and right now, Hikaru has the upper hand, clearly up a piece, but he's not making any progress. And at some point, Jan, and he does it, he plays h5, f5 is loose. So I feel like if anyone has sort of gained something in the last bunch of moves, it's been Jan Nepomniachtchi.
I completely agree. And again, white is up a piece, but it's not doing much over there. Now Hikaru gets out of the way so that the B pawn can push, and that actually looks like a pretty good idea.
Don't go king d4, because e5 check, and you get
Don't-
mated.
Okay. Wow. He just backs up into the checks?
Wait,
That
why
is
didn't you give him a
just
check? Jan didn't give a check when he could have. Instead, he just sort of paused, and there's no draw because after the king goes to the first rank, the rook slides and blocks the checks.
guys, it's just like such a risky way to play this position if you're Hikaru, but he's getting away with it. And he's
Oh, it's
defending everything.
such a nice move. The f7 pawn was hanging two different ways, but he just wants that pawn, the b pawn, to get to the other side. And, well, Jan has some pawns that he wants to use, but I'm sorry, a queen is landing.
Wow. Okay, well, that's why they're a lot better at bullet chess than I will ever be in many lifetimes to come, because that was crazy to see the level of accuracy played with seconds on the clock. Hikaru Nakamura, his first lead in the match.
I think that's correct. Yes, because he lost. He lost game one, won game two, and then Jan started going on a bit of a tear. So you are correct. First lead of the match for Hikaru and Denny. You must be happy because we're seeing a scotch.
There you go. Jan Nepomniachtchi always played openings after my own heart, but I don't play the scotch as well as Jan does. I tend to get my queen trapped on h1. Shout out to the chess bros. I'll never forget it. I'm angry now. But that was frustrating. All right, but Jan Nepomniachtchi knows how to play the scotch. We'll see if he can level the score against Hikaru in bullet.
Well, this for a moment there looked very risky for black, but now the king is castled. I would say white's king is in more potential danger with the rook on the a file. But you look at the pawn structure, now it's kind of evened out, both sides with a relatively healthy structure. The position, to my eyes, Danny, it looks like white might be slightly better because his f6 pawn is weak, but with so many pieces on the board, there could be danger for both sides.
Agreed. And one of the things that's always interesting in these Scotch Mises variation endgames is because the kings are on opposite sides of the board, is when you get an endgame, sometimes one side's king can just be way more useful and active. I was saying that because I thought it might become a storyline. Maybe Jan was going to find a way to activate the king into the center. It didn't happen. He had to back up instead. And now I think it's just going to be equal. That king is it maybe that king is actually getting himself in trouble now.
Although with the
Yeah.
rook trade, look whose pawns are worse. White has one pawn
Yep.
island, black has three isolated pawns. So we've seen this story before, haven't we, Danny? Where there's been even pawns to start with, then one side picks up one, and the end game isn't so easy. This end game, on the other hand, even if you drop d5 with those pawns on the same side of the board, it shouldn't be too difficult.
It shouldn't be, but it's bullet, right? Jan's going to push as he should. You'd love to level the score in this one. Grind out a rook ending against Hikaru. He's already won a rook ending. He shouldn't have won today.
Ooh, king on
Yeah, he's
f5.
pushing.
You need to get your rook to the sixth rank. Wow, that's a big move from Hikaru because you're trying to get a pass pawn, put your rook behind it, and hope that white is too tunneled on playing for a win.
Yeah, and also was well timed because you were talking about white needing a rook on the sixth rank, right? And Hikaru said, nope, no thank you. We're going to trade rooks so you don't get rook e6.
Okay, but he just gave up his d4 pawn very quickly. He can't take it with the king, so this might be the draw that Hikaru has scoped out, but not so fast. Jan says, what
Yeah,
draw? I might win a pawn.
rook d3, king e4 is next. I guess rook g8 is kind of key. It's no, not anymore. You put the king on g7. So what's going on here? Ooh, f5. What a drawing move.
That's so good. That is just, in other positions, you might have some trouble, if you get squeezed a little bit. But Jan's still trying really hard here. He wants to bring his king back and get his rook active. But Denny, we've seen an endgame just like this. Once one of these F pawns
Yep.
falls, we have history to look at, and there was a draw.
I thought Hikaru would have played rook e8 check there instead of this, but Hikaru knows better in terms of where that rook needs to be active, and this looks like it's working well.
If
Yeah,
you're Jan, Denny,
f5.
force the draw. Don't play this out. There's
Yeah,
no winning chance, right? For the match clock, just make a draw ASAP.
he's kind of doing that now. Obviously, he's playing quickly, not offering the draw, but it will be a draw. Jan's not going to waste any unnecessary time. One final trick for the kids. Gotta love it.
Well,
Shout out to Danya. It
don't,
feels like something
don't,
nasty.
no, but don't take the
What?
pawn if you're Hikaru. Now you can take it and just play this out.
Ah, but it's only a one-game lead at this point. It feels unnecessary to me. Like, I'm not Hikaru Nakamura. I can't time travel. Hikaru can, but I think that with one game, I don't know that this really matters.
I just feel like with that lead, right? It just you burn as much time as possible because even if you get in a scenario where things might go a little out of hand, like Jan just doesn't have enough time, and he has, of course, plenty of time to equalize this match, win this match. But I think that Hikaru is doing the right thing when you have the lead. The fewer games remaining, the better.
Am I the only one who gets anxiety when they're doing this? Because I'm like a second away from a mouse slip. Someone blunders the rook. I fall out of my chair. Like I'm just like, just take the draw, please. Ugh.
What's the record number of moves in an SEC game? This isn't getting there, but I wonder what the answer is.
I feel like it was a Hikaru Magnus game where something similar happened. I feel like you and I had the call one time when Magnus was or Hikaru was milking the clock. Something was going on, and they had like that bishop ending with the kings moving all across the board. You remember that?
Yes, I do. I have a question. Does
Yeah.
Hikaru has he been counting the 50 move rule? Because he paused right now. So like, does he know where the 50 moves are up?
Okay. Longest game. Shout out to the team who just crushes it on the stats when we ask. 204 moves. Nakamura Caruana in 2023 is the longest ever SCC game. This one did not come close, and it was not the Carlsen game we remember.
No, but that game was a draw. That's good news for Hikaru, bad news for Jan. And we're going back to the Sicilian that has previously looked pretty good for Jan Nepomniachtchi and the black pieces. Danny, do you think that Hikaru is just trying to get a drier Sicilian so Jan can't get those tactical positions we know he loves?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, right? By drier Sicilian, Robert kind of referring to avoiding the castles long, English attack, Yugoslav attack type of Sicilians. Hikaru's just going to play castle short, classical Carpovian Sicilian. I love the Marco hop structure there. You put a knight on d5, which means if black ever takes on d5, you take with the e pawn, and you've got tactics against e7. So this is just good good solid white side of the Sicilian from Hikaru.
And that's a great move from Jan Nepomniachtchi, by the way. E5 is a difficult one in most Sicilians because you give away this all-important d5 square. But here, there's no knight to get there. So I think that was well-timed by Jan, very necessary. And Hikaru is doing his best to cover that d5 square. And Jan just blundered a pawn. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, wait, or worse, that knight is getting trapped, and the knight will come to e3 next.
It's not the end of the world, but clearly not good for black.
Yeah. It's weird because the knight may be out of play, but there's no real way to trap it. So Hikaru going to try to just do the other thing you do when someone's piece is sidelined, which is you attack a different area of the board, and that knight is helpless.
Okay, but f4 played, and he's just
Yep.
trying to expand. Maybe f5, which will win an exchange at the very least. So Jan felt compelled to take it. Knight d5 intermezzo. That is an all-star move.
All-star move from Hikaru Nakamura. That knight still not playing. Although, okay, Jan getting some compensation potentially. D6 is going to fall, though. Oh. You highlight the square, and Hikaru says, no, Robert. That knight's not getting out.
And then e5, the rook on c6 was loose. His whole point was to get his knight back to b5. But Hikaru just continues to play this like a monster. But the knight is free. And now comes the d4.
The knight is free, which means it's not over yet. Yeah, there's a fork there. So Hikaru has breathed some life into Jan's position here. Yeah, mating nets are a problem, but here comes the c-pawn.
C-pawn, rook a2 check? I mean, that's really not clear, as the white king can also find itself in some danger.
Yeah, you couldn't play rook c2, by the way, because there was a fork on e3. So Hikaru is on the defensive a little bit. Jan doesn't have a lot of time, though, and the c-pawn is coming. Here we go.
Oh, that's a repetition if he doesn't take the knight, but he does, and that's good knight.
Wow. Hikaru with the timely defensive exchange sack grabs a 2-game lead. Jan Nepomniachtchi doesn't need to see any more of it because he knows he only has 12 minutes to keep things close.
And Jan goes to center game, right? This little kind of Scandinavian style position almost. But we see the queen go to h3. I don't even know what's happening here, Danny, but Jan, he's moving instantly every turn. Do you like the opening choice?
I do not, despite the edge on the clock. I don't know what's going on, but no, I'm kidding. I actually love it. The kings are on opposite sides of the board. White has chances to win. That's what you have to do when you're down 2 games, right? I don't know what you do to keep the queens on the board now. Okay, queen g3. But this is what you have to do if you're Jan. You have to get dynamic, crazy attacking chances to get some victories.
Can you take on g6 twice? The knight takes on queen g6 with knight e7
Oh,
check.
I love it. Maybe could have done it. I'm not sure what happens in that endgame, though, because White still has the isolated e4 pawn, so he doesn't do it.
Instead, he goes into this e5. Okay, we have some problems for the black king. It's going to be a position with equal material, Danny, but we know when kings are on opposite sides of the board, the king that is safer, usually that means that side has an advantage.
Yeah. So Jan still with some pressure here, which is why I like this approach with kings on opposite sides of the board, but not a lot of pieces to generate mating chances.
Is Hikaru moving a little bit too quickly? I mean, he has almost a full minute on the clock.
Well, I mean, if he goes wrong, the answer is yes, I guess. He's moving too quickly if this goes wrong. That's for sure.
He's holding on very nicely for the moment, but it looks scary, and yet he's not taking time. It's amazing what he's capable of without actually using the clock allotment that he has.
Yeah, but White's better, and he has to be careful. If there's tactics with rook d7 at some point.
Rook e4.
Wait. Jan just blundered rook e4?
He did. And that's game.
Jan Nepomniachtchi blundered rook e4, and that's game. Ditto.
Just unreal what Hikaru is capable of, because he's not having his best match. Also, this game looked very pleasant for White, but Hikaru just kept moving instantly, and that's put Jan Nepomniachtchi in time trouble, and now he's in down a rook, or a queen for a rook.
Hikaru just beat a 2-time candidates winner with more than 50 seconds on the clock to his 10 seconds, and Jan Nepomniachtchi resigns because he recognizes the match strategy. By the way, that position, everybody, was forced mate for black with queen c4 check and rook f1 coming. So Hey, so Jan Nepomniachtchi doesn't let Hikaru milk the clock, but like Robert, I'm trying to process what just happened there, right? Hikaru just dominated that game. This is why the bullet portion is a problem for anyone who goes up against him.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time that the Hikaru Nakamura bullet school of chess is that a perfect move, the best move played slowly, is worse than a good move played quickly. And he just had so much time. Jan was forced to rush and couldn't find all the best moves. And in this position, okay, it looks solid for black, Danny. You see the eval bar. The engines say it's approximately level, but you don't want equal games if you're Jan Nepomniachtchi, especially games that can last a long time.
Yeah, this is the kind of game that could take a lot of time off the clock. Plus, Hikaru's better. So he's thinking, he's using his time. He's being smart about the fact that he could play instantly, as he just proved to us in the last game, but maybe he doesn't need to.
And Jan doing the right thing there, swapping a pair of rooks, and he would love to keep this a pawn, but he wasn't able to. And it's a position where you can play for two results if you're Hikaru. And he played keep away there, Danny. Knight to g1. That bishop is not going to touch the knight.
This is so painful to be on here because you almost think he should resign, right? I mean, I'm serious, right? Because what do you do in this spot? This game has gotten out of control. Hikaru's going to use his time, and
Game.
and okay, unless he just converts quickly. But I was going to say Hikaru could easily get another 3 or 4 minutes off the clock here.
And Jan has to resign. King f6 was knight e4, and now rook takes f7 check. Oof. Yeah, I think that for Jan, this one's over with.
Hikaru's taking his time because why should he be in a hurry if he's completely winning? Take more time off the clock. He'll probably get down to at least 30 seconds before he moves. I wish I had a snack.
Oh, yeah, man. He's just going to keep it going, Denny. I mean, he's not going to move, and Jan should probably just resign because the position is dead lost. And the more time that comes off the clock, knight takes e6 is going to happen. 2 pawns down.
It's made in a couple for white, actually, over there. But yeah. Jan resigns, as he should. But unfortunately, a 4-game lead with less than 8 minutes to go is probably enough for Hikaru Nakamura.
I just don't even know what we're seeing here. Some kind of king's gambit where white is a pawn ahead, and I don't see the full compensation for it.
Yeah, the first bad opening, I guess, from Hikaru in bullet, or the first real advantage for Jan. He's got to get a win here. I mean, we're not trying to call it too soon here, but we always want to be honest about what we're seeing. I think mathematically, we're pretty much in must-win territory. I think we can say that. And even that might not be enough against Hikaru. So you got to start right here with a victory.
Yeah, he needs 3 wins in a row, does Jan, and then to have just 1 second remaining on the match clock to get that next game in. And this is a position where most of the pieces have come off the board, Danny. More pieces are about to get traded. The knight c5 captured for the knight in f3, and apparently there was a win for black. Bishop e2 was a skewer with that rook sitting on d3.
Huh. Okay, so Hikaru misses the win for black, but he gets himself a knight ending that he shouldn't necessarily lose. And even if this is just a draw, and looks like Hikaru is going to grab that pawn, but even if it's just a draw and 2 more minutes come off the clock, we are almost buying Hikaru Nakamura's ticket to Paris.
Yeah, this one is done because it's the score, 4-point spread, and then this position where black is up a pawn and you can make moves like h5. Oh, he wants g4, knight takes g4.
That's a fork. That is a baby fork, as they say. Love it when a baby forks with a pawn. I don't know how that worked out. Baby fork.
Yeah, I don't even know how to respond to that.
By the way, the threat there was knight g4 check, I think.
This is just hard. You know, the match was so close, so it's almost like hard to accept what has happened since then.
Yep.
But it's been all Hikaru, so credit to him.
Yeah, we literally entered bullet 8-8. Anyone just tuning in missed the closest part of the match in the 5-1 to 3-1 segment because Hikaru Nakamura has won every game in bullet so far, I think. Have we drawn one? I forget.
They had 1 draw.
Okay, they had 1 draw.
This is just... They had that really long rook versus rook game that took forever.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, now the c-pawn might run. That's the problem. Okay, if you go for the other pawns, Okay, Hikaru just calculated whether he could play b5 maybe, but plays a5, and that knight has no ability to attack the b6 pawn.
And it can't get back in time is the problem in most of these positions. So here comes the c pawn, here comes the avenue to b4, and there goes the pawn in the game, and Hikaru wins, and that means he's officially won the match.
Less than 5 minutes to go with a 5-game lead is mathematically impossible, even if Hikaru let the time run off his clock. So, clip it and ship it, as they say. Hikaru Nakamura joins Magnus Carlsen, Hans Niemann, Alireza Firouzja in Paris. What an event that is going to be. Can you, okay, Robert, we're switching to preview time. You and I are going to be in Paris in 3 weeks. I know Magnus Carlsen versus Hans Niemann is what everyone wants to see for all the right and wrong reasons, the drama and the whatever. Are you not just as excited for Hikaru Nakamura versus Alireza Firouzja?
Oh,
I
honestly,
mean,
I'm more excited for that one. Like, it's to me, it's
yeah,
not even close. Which match is more exciting? It's not that Hans, he's playing so well, right? He is really in top shape. Even how he's playing against Anish in classical chess, it seems like he's finding some great form. But Magnus, he's Magnus Carlsen, way more experienced. I would say the difference between them is just a bit greater, even as well as Hans is playing. So Alireza versus Hikaru, on the other hand, feels like more of a toss-up because Hikaru
yeah.
has been the speed chess champion 5 times. He's won the bullet chess champion 4 times. But Alireza this year, he won the BCC. He beat Magnus twice in a day, 2 matches in rapid chess in the Champions Chess Tour to already stamp his ticket to the season end final. So I just feel like
Yep.
that one has more toss-up potential, even if the other matchup is awesome. And of course, people are focusing for the drama. They love all that stuff. I don't. But I think that the other matchup also promises excitement based on the chess.
No, I think you said it. And obviously, Magnus Carlsen's quote is now being posted around the internet because it's probably true. I mean, look, Magnus Carlsen top form, still a heavy favorite against Hans Niemann, no matter, I mean, Hans is playing great, but Magnus is Magnus. You look at Firouzja and Nakamura and how well Alireza has played since the candidates, and that's going to be wild. So, Paris will be awesome.
It will for sure. And for Ian Nepomniachtchi, it's going to be another SEC where he's fallen just short. His record overall will drop to 5-7. He's not going to make the semis here, but you get the feeling that Jan has what it takes, right, to take down one of these giants. I mean, the final score here will look quite lopsided, right? Like it's about to be 14.5 to 8.5, but we entered this 8-8, and at one point Jan had a 3-point lead, Danny, but then he lost several games in a row. Hikaru just found his form, and when that happens, well, good luck to anybody.
Yeah. Yep. It was pretty sure how we opened the bullet segment. As I said, Jan seems primed. He seems focused. You could tell he wanted it, and he's played great. But you're playing Hikaru and bullet, so good luck. And that's kind of what happened here. It's hard to beat Nakamura when the clocks get faster. Hikaru taking his time here, just really clinching it. At this point, it's irrelevant. We may or may not even get another game, depending on how long this goes. We will get another one. This will likely be our final game of our final quarterfinal match. We now know who will be in Paris, and we will have interviews, of course, at the end of this. So hope everyone sticks around for that, and we'll roll the dice again in regards to who gets to do the interview. Robert, maybe we'll flip a coin.
Yeah, I mean, Hikaru is probably going to be pretty happy, but we know how Hikaru is, and you're the best Hikaru facial expression reader out there. But it's like one of those, oh, you just won a match by what's going to be perhaps 7 points. Yeah, but I played terribly. Like, I couldn't do anything right. And then, I just got lucky. Jan let me back in it. Never really just expressing how well he played in some portions, right?
Yeah, these guys tend to do that. Focus on what they did wrong most of the time. We may have an interview with Ian Nepomniachtchi as well. We'll see if Ian wants to hang out and talk. He played a great match today. Obviously, Hikaru is the bullet beast in the SCC. But we'll see if we can catch up with Ian too.
Yeah, that would be great indeed. And this position is looking great for Jan, but unfortunately, it's too little too late in the bullet portion. He's got an attack going. The Black King is in the line of this rook over here. There's going to be a capture on b5, or no, another excellent bullet move from Hikaru.
Keeping it keeping it under control, I guess, not letting Ian Nepomniachtchi mate him that quickly. We always say that the last game in the SEC tends to go the way of the person who's losing the match. Maybe a little bit of lack of focus or other things, but yeah, Hikaru trying not to make it be so. But no, maybe he's going to throw in the towel here.
Yeah, the timer is up for the match overall. So this is the final game. And, well, what a final position we're about to get. The Black King is just hunted. Oh, my goodness. Is Hikaru somehow going to save this?
The d5 bishop will fall. I don't see a mate for white.
Unbelievable. Seriously unbelievable.
Well, it's not over yet, but yeah, this is.
So what Black needs to do is sacrifice 100% of his pieces. Stalemate.
Yeah, stalemate. I love that.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
Hikaru is somehow holding this game right now. Speechless.
this is truly ridiculous. Okay, so White has one rook out there in the open going for an attack. There's no stalemate though. You're too many pieces left. Otherwise, you could do the renegade rooks.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Hikaru Danny might go for some kind of rook takes bishop if he can, and then try to get
Yeah.
at these 2 pawns.
Aha. Jan taking advantage of the stalemate, though. By the way, I think just doubling rooks on the c file was made on c8.
Good call.
Jan didn't see it. It was, but not anymore. And now Hikaru's getting out, or is he?
Bishop f2 at the end, winning the rook, and then the h pawn is still left on the board.
Just gonna. Jan tried to sack the rook for the bishop and queen the h pawn. Hikaru didn't let it be that easy, but I think Jan will go on to win the last game of this match.